Auzubillahiminashaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu. Pakhair agale. Ni hao. Chune shumme. Washmale. Ohio gozaimasu. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privyet. Kaifa hal? Hale shumachatore. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaba. Buna. Mucho. Gracias. Swami. Aballi kere aaya. Hosh kaldin. And thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, amazing, superb, knowledgeable, very learned and very respectable ladies and gentlemen. With me, I have my very amazing colleague who happens to be Miss Hajar Sati, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is ready to kickstart their day with us. Hello Haja, how are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for asking me, and thank you so much for the introduction. I'm always humbled by your
Jazakallah, Jazakallah, and you truly deserve it.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm good. How are you?
I think so far so good. Still managing to, do wonderful things, alhamdulillah. I think it's just that you really need to kind of put in all sorts of energy when you kind of commit yourself with a profession or maybe the passion you have, which is closer to your heart as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking about it, and so I think that I'm going to reiterate upon this, even today, and that is that for once, if you make a commitment with somebody or with the kind of job you wanted to do or you always wanted to achieve a goal, please make sure that you give it your 100%. Once Allah gives you that sort of a blessing where you've been bestowed upon a blessing, which, for example, us is that, we host television shows, alhamdulillah, and we get to do it every single day. So we really need to dedicate ourselves. We really need to strike that perfect balance and make sure that whenever we are working with 100% commitment, and that passion needs to drive the energy as well. So I think so far so good.
I think that's
what about you?
That's a subtle message for me because I got late today.
No.
I'm sorry for that.
I have never ever targeted any of my colleagues in my previous working experiences.
I know you're kind enough now.
But yes, if you have that guilt in you, you can certainly talk about it a little bit as well.
Right.
What happened? Why were you late today?
Right.
And before you kind of speak about it, so ladies and gentlemen, alhamdulillah, I think it's been more than 1.5 months that we have been doing shows together now, alhamdulillah. And I've seen her always on time. So today I was a little surprised and shocked because, she would always say, I'm a morning person, and I've been doing the morning shifts and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, that's so cool. That's perfect. And so today, it was just 5 minutes to the show. And I was like, Hajra, are you coming? She's like, yeah, I'm just 1 minute away. And she all of a sudden, she just popped up and she was like, I was like, it's all right, calm down, relax.
Right. So I think I did miscalculation on my part because usually when I leave office, it's not the corporate working hour, but I think it was today and I didn't know that. But from now onwards, I will be more careful about that. And also I live really far away, so I have to, keep a big margin, in order to reach here. And
exactly, and that's wonderful because, these days 15 minutes or 20 minutes margins really do not work, and they haven't been working for me too as well. So I've been arriving at work somewhat around 30 or 40 minutes prior to the show as well, which I believe is not good. You really need to be here an hour prior to that as well so that you have your conversation with your guest and you kind of just jot down, what the course of conversation will be. But today, Haja, we're actually kind of talking about a very important topic, and it's about how, our parents would always tell us, Puttar kuch bada karo. And we're like, okay, aap bata de, what do we really need to do, and we'll do it. But ladies and gentlemen, collectively, when we speak about a country or a nation where the youngsters population is somewhat around 65% or 60%, obviously we really need to kind of think about what opportunities do we have for those youngsters to kind of contribute towards the economy or the economically prosperous future for the country
and in the first place, why is it even important to mention this group, right? So for that, I think we have some fantastic guests in the studio. And starting with, we have Asif Rasool Saab, who happens to be analyst, and a second...
I think what I'll do over here is that I seriously wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about. So before I kind of introduce our guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think that the responsibility needs to be shared when it comes down to nations. And we really need to kind of work on a community where everybody is harmony, is in well sync as well, so that we contribute together. It's not an individual effort. People from different walks of life really needs to come together as well. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, obviously, since everybody's getting back to the normalcy of life as well, it was Ramadan, then it was Eid. So finally, I'm very lucky that I've actually been joined by one of my most favorite and supporting professors from my university days. Even though while he was teaching us in his university days, in our university days, he actually looked just like us. You know, even now, alhamdulillah, I think when I say that he has been my professor, he might, you know, there might be this image in your head that, you know, he might be a very elderly person, but ladies and gentlemen, you can even learn at a very early stage and age as well. So we're very lucky that we've been joined with somebody who happens to be a professor, ladies and gentlemen, and he always makes sure that whatever information or knowledge he's going to profess, he will be standing behind it logically and that too technically as well. He is Mr. Asif Rasool. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much. The way you turbocharged us early in the morning, now I'm super excited.
Wow, sir. I think fuel these days is so expensive. You know, the turbocharger might cost you a little bit more as well. All right, but other than that, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we certainly want to put in a perspective of the communities. Where, for example, we talk about the West and how people work over there and how they're workaholics. They wake up at 6 and they will make sure that they're going to complete whatever work or whatever job they have been given as well. So to kind of have a comparison in between how the communities and the youngsters work over here and how the communities work abroad as well, it is very important for us to learn, if only we are keen to learn as well. So we're very lucky that we've been joined by somebody who actually happens to be the Public Information Officer for the United Nations. He is Muhammad Abdul Wahab Sahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and good morning.
Good morning. Walaikum Assalam. Thank you so much, Azad. It's wonderful to be here again.
Thank you so much, sir. And, I'm enjoying how, you know, each and every one of us is actually wearing black color today as well. You know, so men in black, ladies and gentlemen, and a women in orange.
Red.
Red. All right. I think I might be a little colorblind as well. You know, that's the kind of conversation I would always have, and people would tell me, no, it's not that color. So I don't know, but let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. So first things first, sir. How is it, you know, coming back to normalcy?
Yeah, it's very good. You know, after almost a month of labor, when you really, perhaps this is the only 1 month throughout the year where we feel that we have a cause and we have to return to God Almighty.
True.
You see? And keeping that in mind, perhaps all our efforts, all our routine, I mean, everything gets focused on a single point agenda, that is salvation in the hereafter. And that really, I mean, purifies us, and basically Allah Ta'ala had meant this month to prepare us for other 11 months. Unfortunately, what we started doing, we became Muslims for a month only.
Do we?
Well, that's debatable, but we have a very different topic today, so I think we'll stick to that. You know, obviously we're going to respect your opinion. That's your opinion, and we're going to respect it because, one, obviously you're a dear friend, and number two, you have always been very supportive of our work as well. What about you, Asif Saab? How is it? How is your life transitioning from Ramadan to Eid and now getting back to work?
Yes, this as Abdul Wahab has rightly said, that this is just month of purification, and suddenly you get relaxed. You just think about many aspects, and the way you were on fast track, you just change the track. You are on a normal track, so it really provides you with a lot of time to recite Holy Quran. I have got a lot many books on mine, like Alex Shepard, 40 Rules of Love. Last day I finished it. It was fantastic. So a lot of time for thinking, for planning, for relaxation.
You're a little late for 40 Rules of Love, though. But sir, now very quickly coming back to the topic where we're talking about how the youth really needs to contribute towards the prosperity of the country, may it be economically, politically, may it be from any different walk of life as well. So let's see what's your take on this, and then we'll build up. Sir, Asif Saab.
As you have rightly said in the start, that we have got a 60 to 65% population of youth, and when we say the whole world is looking at us, so no doubt this is a fact that this is our asset. But problem is, like, if we are unable, this has got like two aspects. If we properly channelize the energy of our youth, we are going to just put them on a proper track where they have got a very clear future, and they're going to develop their skills, they're going to develop like technical or whatever the aspect is, and ultimately they are going to play a very important role in economies, in our country's economy. But on the other hand, if we are not going to make it systematic, so far we do not have any systematic approach to deal with this much bulk where the whole world is looking. Even we are very conscious about it, and so that's why I would say that this is a very important topic.
But why would you say that we would actually want a system to kind of make sure that, you know, all of these people are contributing towards the prosperity of the country? Because for all of those countries where, you know, probably going back in time, you know, which had a bulge of youth as well, I don't know where the systems existed. Because in today's time, what I certainly have observed is that there are a lot of children, you know, somewhat around 12 or 13 years old, making millions of rupees over the internet. I think they're doing a good job as well. You know, we have seen a shift where while we were growing up, you know, our parents would emphasize, hey, you know what, padhoge nahi, chaprasi ban jaoge, and things like that. That, you know, you really need to go to college and school and university, and, you know, half of our life actually, you know, went over there. And now when we see on the changing trends of the information technology, we see that even the top 500 Fortune companies do not really want a degree from you. They want a skill set which can actually help them achieve or attain their goals. So this transition, how do you think, as parents, you know, younger parents, how do you think that we really need to prioritize while we are making sure that our children grow up to be an asset for the country?
This is the biggest challenge, what I have seen at scholarly level and even at university level. Like you have just talked about a specific chunk, like even before coming here and inside, we just talked about Elon Musk and all that, like all these guys who are making billions and billions. We have got a very small chunk who are on this track. We have got like 2 or 3 guys in Pakistan like Sunny Ali, Sham Sarwar, and many more. They are just putting people on track. They're just providing them with a kind of guideline. But that's a very, very small chunk. Shehzad Saab, if we talk about the majority of the kids, believe me, they have got all these aspects before them. Like early in the morning, they're conscious of one thing, that, well, whether they have got this data available or not, and then they are going to play it for indefinite, like games, or maybe they're going to watch videos. If we have got a system where we properly coach them, we properly guide them and train them, and then it becomes lucrative for them, and it's going to put our economy on the track. People are, I mean, we will immensely benefit from it. But so far, it's not successful. We have got a small chunk. I've got in each class, let's say, if I've got 400 students in the evening program, so I've got only 4 to 5 students who are earning from this end. What about rest of them? This is a challenge.
Yeah, so what about rest of them?
Rest of them still, I mean, they're just playing. We have got this thing with us. Now we have got to channelize it. I mean, we have got this technology with us. How to utilize it? Now we have got to train these kids. We have got to coach them. We have got to guide them so that it becomes a kind of earning source for them. It's not only beneficial for them, but it's also very helpful for our country's economy as well.
Exactly.
Right, right. And especially when we talk about youth, you know, so youth is not a very homogeneous group, right? It's a heterogeneous group with different identities, with the different ethnicities, or different, you know, parameters that you would like to divide the stratification on, right? And and I would like to ask this question from you, and I wanted to know the UN's opinion on that, that how do we make sure that there's inclusivity in that heterogeneous group that we call youth?
Haja, basically what we have to see is, in my personal opinion, we have to give our youth a direction.
Right.
What is happening? I mean, I was listening to your conversation quite attentively.
Right.
Basically, what happens, whatever you do individually or collectively, it has to be channelized. It has to be monitored. Somebody has to set your priorities.
Right.
And given those priorities, one has to formulate a plan of action.
Right.
If you don't have a plan of action, what happens? Our efforts, they perhaps they do not get focused, and they move in the haphazard way. Coming back to your question, basically in Pakistan, as you have rightly pointed out, we have heterogeneity.
Right.
How to address?
Right.
Basically, in my opinion, I mean, so far we haven't seen any complication or any problem arising out of that heterogeneity.
Okay.
Basically, what has to happen? We have to set our goals. First of all, we have to let our youth know that you are the most essential and beneficial part of our population.
Right.
You are the ones who are going to move the world. You are the ones who are going to change destiny of Pakistan.
Right.
You know, so far, I mean, since 1947,
Right, right.
we have been working in a way to an extent hard as well. But what has happened, we didn't have our priorities set.
Okay.
We didn't unify our overall system.
Okay.
We didn't basically focus on youth. We didn't decide ourselves that who has to bring change. People above 50 or people below 20 or below 15, they are the ones, they are not going to play that essential role, although they are going to play quite important part. But who is going to steer this ship?
Okay.
People in between 18 and 40, these are the ones who have stamina, who have potential,
Right.
who can really, I mean, have got the stamina to work even 16 hours a
Thank
day.
you for saying that. I still have 5 more years of stamina.
You see? So basically what has to happen, we have to let them know.
Right.
We have to advertise. We have to den into their ears that you are the ones who are going to change our destiny. So
Right.
why are you wasting time? Why you are not focusing on agendas? At the same time, what is happening, we have to invest on them as well.
Right.
We are not investing at all.
At all.
If you have to make a concrete building which you think it has to last for 200 years,
Right.
you have to bring that sort of input. Go back to interior of Pakistan and see the buildings made by Britishers. Those buildings were constructed, many of them 150 years ago or 200, 250 years ago. They're still intact. The reason is they have got almost minimum thickness of the wall is 1 foot.
Okay.
You see, and perhaps those rooftops, usually these days we hardly have thickness of hardly 4 to 6 inches. They used to build buildings with 12 inches to almost 18 inches thickness of roofs.
Yeah.
Right.
You see, so basically what we are doing, we are not planning well, we only plan for next 20 years. We
Right.
construct a house, we construct a building, and we think that it should hardly last for 30, 40 years.
That's true.
Right.
That is a wrong policy.
Right.
Likewise, we have not devised a policy that we don't have to go after numbers when in terms of children,
Right.
but we have to go after quality. Instead of having 6 or 7 children, we should have 2 or 3, but quality education,
That's
quality food, quality upbringing. So when we have already a target set, okay,
Right. But don't you think that's a very risky question here in Pakistan? Of
well, the thing
Plan
is, Hajda, one day,
5 million children are
One
born
day.
every year in Pakistan.
One day.
5
you,
million.
you remember this
You know,
stat by
yeah.
heart, right?
one day change has to come. If we keep shutting our eyes like a pigeon, you see, if we remain afraid of, oh, who will, I mean, this question might be debated, or we might get sort of objections from. No, we have to explain to people.
Right.
Study your religion. Religion is not against that. Religion says treat an individual respectably.
Yeah.
That's true.
Fulfill all the requirements of your child.
Yeah.
Do not say, I have 7 children, so I can't provide a bread to a
Right.
single child the whole day. No, this is not like that. Have 2 children, but at least give them 3 meals or 2 meals a day. Send them to better schools where, I mean, human beings teach them. We have so many schools where people, they don't impart any education at all to children.
Sir, thank you very much for saying that, because we still live in a country where we do have stunted growth, we do have malnourishment as well. And in addition to that, while you were kind of speaking about it, I certainly wanted to talk about how the world is actually moving on with newer disciplines. You know, for example, may it be in international development, may it be newer courses which are coming in, which are being introduced, you know, because of the fact that there's this more requirement of people, you know, adopting to a newer skill set. Rather we, you know, so Professor Saab, I'm going to come back to you as well, because what happens is, you know, we still have engineer, doctor, BBA, you know, and BBA is definitely for those people who certainly do not want to do anything in life, you know, BBA kar lo. So, and then from there onwards, obviously, if Allah is going to bless you, Allah will bless you, you know, it does not really matter whether you're a doctor, engineer or BBA or whatsoever. But we really need to dig in. We really need to have our own research. We need to have research facilities. we need to do some scientific experiments to make sure, because we we used to say that our economy was based on agriculture, but now unfortunately I think it's not going to pay our bills, and we really need to move on, and we really need to be on that bandwagon of the 5th generation revolution as well. So how do we do that?
I'll just start off with these advanced countries. For example, I went through Yuval Noah Harari, is one of my favorite writers. He just wrote one book, 14 lessons for
Yeah.
21st century.
21 lessons. No?
21 lessons, sorry.
Right.
21 lessons for 21st century.
Right.
And when we just look at these advanced countries, basically they just properly research into the future. And then they look at the required set skills. And after that, they provide a kind of policy. And they disseminate the policies to school, colleges, and technical schools. And then keeping this perspective in their mind, this kind of SOP, this young lot is being prepared. But unfortunately...
How is it being prepared? I don't see them prepared. There's so many people texting me every single day, sir, naukri nahi mil rahi hai, kuch kara dein. And I
in
ask,
Pakistan.
in Pakistan, or
Exactly,
even outside
exactly.
Pakistan, I have messages from people from Dubai who would actually be like, yeah, we cannot do anything over here. Why don't you do something for us? And this culture where we know that if we are going to be in conversation with somebody influential, we might even get something to earn as well, or a job, or probably, land onto something which will be beneficial for them. We really need to eradicate this concept where people have hopes from other people rather than asking from Allah Almighty in the first place and then preparing yourself.
Exactly. Now, when we just talk about this technology...
I'm sorry, I know that you gave me a spoiler alert before the show. Sir, Asif Rasool Saab said, yeah, it's a morning show, why do you always come up with some serious question? But this is something which hurts me, because I come across a lot of youngsters who are so helpless, who do not have any particular idea of what's going to happen in their life, no goals, no objectives.
So Shehzad, I mean, there's always a disparity between how many graduates you are producing and between the job market.
Obviously.
Right? And my professor used to say that, you need to stand out in order to get a job. Right?
I mean, even that, and in addition to that, what I would love to add, I'm very sorry, but I would love to add over here that, to stand out, obviously, there will be people outside. Imagine now, Sir was telling us that, there are 400 students.
Right.
How many would stand a chance to stand out in the first place? Number one. Number two, while we were studying in our universities, obviously we saw people coming from Rahim Yar Khan and all of those areas where they have not learned a single word in English, and that too by the age of 22 or 21. It was difficult for them to learn. How do you think they are going to compete with children studying in Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, or elsewhere? So the opportunity needs to be equal for each and everyone. But over here in Pakistan, we do not have opportunities, and we do not believe in creating more opportunities. So we need to change that probably.
Exactly, we have got to change, but currently the issue is, when I've been researching on this area for last 4 semesters. Whenever I go to the class on day 1, I ask them first thing that, okay, why did you take admission in this program? 80-90%, I don't know.
Sir, aur kahin dakhla nahi mil raha tha.
They were like, there are many normal. For example, my best friend is there. This university is very near. Perhaps it's a bit cheap. And these are the questions. You are not clear about your future. When you are not clear about your future, do you think that you're going to develop your set skills? This is one problem. In second, even in the last
So we all have
semesters,
never been clear about our future. Now that's what I'm saying.
but now we have got to start up with this career counseling. We have got to start up with this coaching. This is very important now, because in previous centuries, still people managed to cope with this student problem. This is 21st century. It's on the fast track, and people who are without skills, they won't be able to survive. So now, I mean, this is a kind of alarming situation for us. If we are just going to leave this state of affairs in the same manner, ultimately we are going to face a lot many issues and problems.
True. So changing the mindset.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to really point out. What is happening? We have to redefine concepts. Now, this is the high time we have to redefine concepts. As you mentioned earlier, we are stuck around the stigma of engineer, doctor, and perhaps one thing more. Basically, what is happening? I was in Australia for almost 1.5 years. One day I went to a supermarket and I wanted to buy food.
Right.
The guy behind that kiosk was an engineer who realized that it was difficult for him to get a job. So what he started doing, he told me his story. I spent 6 months in kitchen with my wife and learned at least 6 to 7 dishes.
Okay.
So what I do every morning, I wake up at 4 o'clock. Till 9, I prepare those 8 dishes, and I have got, almost 8 bigger dishes, and
Right.
I bring all those dishes here. I spend 8 hours here from 9 to 5. I sell all my stuff and go back in my Mercedes.
Wow.
So if I was an engineer, I was having a job, I might have earned perhaps half of what I'm earning now.
That's true.
Now, society gives him the same respect which it gives to an engineer. So society also has to play its role. In our society, oh, he's a cook, I'm not going to give my daughter to him.
Yeah.
You see? So basically, this mindset has to change.
really
What has to
difficult.
happen? Another example. The bus, that hotel bus which used to take us, this was a 60-year-old plus guy with
Okay.
shorts and t-shirt, and he would pick passengers. He was having a back trolley attached with
Which
the bus.
country was this?
Australia again.
Australia. Wow.
So every 5 minutes he would go down, and he would, from that trolley, he would take the bag out to give to the passenger who was disembarking.
Right.
At the end of the day, I asked him, what is your qualification? He said, I'm a graduate.
Wow.
And I said, why did you choose this profession? He said, from childhood I learned, I had a passion for driving. I would always see cars. I would like to drive almost every type of car. So I realized that I can do this work the best way.
Yeah.
And he was successful.
And in addition to that, I'm going to add over here, because this is something which I watched just yesterday as well, and that is that, so there was this amazing video which was about a car wash business.
Okay.
And imagine how much money this gentleman was making. This gentleman was making $3,000 to $5,000 a day, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that deep cleaning of the car as well. And he was
Right.
like, hey, you know what? It's a good job, and it's a better job than being an engineer or a doctor. Rather, you working at the backyard of your own house. So, this is the mindset which I wanted to kind of refer to, that we really need to change. Even while I was getting married myself, there was a lot of debate about if I'm going to leave television, because they really were not interested in a guy who works for television. And then gradually they've seen that, alhamdulillah, okay, this was the rightest decisions or the most amazing decision we've ever made.
Exactly.
But very quickly, sir, so how do we change the mindset? Because then we have to wrap up this segment for the betterment of the youngsters of the country.
Okay, all right. The skill set or the requirement which is really needed in this 21st century is like, if we have got to develop in our curriculum, that is basically creativity, innovation, critical skill, and analytical skill. This is what we have got to develop in our curriculum. And then we have got to equip our students or our younger lot, our youth, with this technology. We have got people in cities, or people with affluent parents, people who have got like awareness, they've got the access to this technology. They're good at this, they earn money and all that. But what about the majority of the people, those who do not have these gadgets and they're not familiar with all these aspects? So along with these different aspects, for example, critical thinking, innovation and all that, we just provide them with proper tool of technology. We just prepare them and we equip them with this. And after that, they plunge into it, and then they are in the best position in 21st century to earn a lot of money and all that.
Wow, that's wonderful. What about you, Wahab?
Well, in my personal opinion, I would go for industrialization, rapid industrialization for our youth. We have to convince, don't do anything, just tell them.
Right.
China, give them the example of China. If you do not come to exports, if you do not come to manufacturing, if you do not come to rapid micro industrialization, you're not going to improve at all.
True.
And our success lies in that. Basically, people have to be told Islam also emphasizes trade. Huzur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to say, trade is the best thing to be done.
True.
Basically, what has happened, we are following a very stereotyped concept. Every child has to go towards engineering, doctors, or something like that. That is not true. That is false.
Exactly. And thank you very much for saying that, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine we have a United Nations Public Information Officer and a professor himself telling us that yes, obviously education is imperative and pivotal for your future, but
Right.
then at the same time, a skill set is really very important. So please make sure that you're not only a bookworm, you really need to be street smart over here as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for
Thank
being
you
with
so
us. And we will obviously try to kind of keep on reiterating upon what the two gentlemen over here in black actually said, because that's what we really need to do. We really need a lot of grooming. We really need a lot of developmental skills as well for ourselves as well. The universities need to think about what is the need of the hour and kind of make sure that they introduce such disciplines where the kids are already prepared rather than getting at work and then learning. Because half of the time, whenever you're going to open a newspaper over in Pakistan, they would want a youngster, but they would want a 5-year experience, and nobody would want to hire you because you do not have any experience. You know, how is that going to work? So everybody's learning at their workplaces over here in Pakistan. This is not the right way to do it. We really need to devise a mechanism with which we do have internships, we do have certain external programs, exchange programs, where we have more exposure to things, newer technologies, so that we can learn and share with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're actually heading out towards a short break. And you can actually log on to our Facebook page, which is with the name of World This Morning. Tell me whether this is orange or red, all right? We're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Right. Welcome back, and earlier on we were having a discussion on how it is important to and imperative to guide our youth, because if we do not guide them, you know, from being a demographic gift, they will become a ticking bomb. And I think we have seen such kind of problems, especially around the globe. Moving forward, you know, so a very wonderful colleague of mine, Saina.
Ours, yes.
Okay, ours. Right. Her daughter's birthday is today, Arshia Amina Salman, and very, very happy birthday to her daughter. And Saina speaks at length about her daughter and how, you know, she is a cutie pie and how, you know, she is engaging in such a nice and wonderful person.
And she resembles Saina as well, you know,
Right.
because this is for the very first time that I've actually kind of gotten a chance myself to look at the kid herself. And imagine, she just resembles Saina. It's like a miniature version of Saina as well. So a very happy Hajj Day to you, Miss Arshia Amina Salman. I mean, I think and I assume that once you, inshallah, are going to grow up, you will kind of rate your mother for, you know, getting you a wish from Shahzad Khan and Hajra Sati as well.
Right.
But yes, a very happy Hajj Day, Putter, and stay blessed. Make sure that all of your dreams come true as well, and we hope and pray that your parents are going to look after you.
And I hope that, you know, she might join PTV, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And yes,
If
because,
PTV
you know, Saina's mother was here, and then Saina is
3
here.
generations.
And then, inshallah, when she's going to come here, somebody will actually ask her about nepotism as well. So I don't know. But Saina, obviously, you have a lovely daughter. You're a wonderful colleague. You know, she's a Batiji or Bhanji to us as well.
Right.
And please make sure that you look after her, because if you're not going to look after her, we will probably be here to look after her, inshallah. So, Arshia, many happy returns of the day. Stay blessed, bete. And for each and every individual whose birthday is today, a very happy Hajj Day to you. And on this occasion, Hajra is actually going to sing a birthday song. Let's do it.
So
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Arshia. Happy birthday to you. Ooh, wow. Well, it feels like as if it's my birthday. But now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards how we are resuming our work. That too, after especially, obviously, you know, in summers, Ramadan is difficult. Then Eid, you know, spending your Eid with loved ones, you know, traveling outside the city, inside the city, seeing your friends, films and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, you know, hey, it's Monday and you really need to go back to work. Or probably Friday or whatever day, you know. So imagine, so today we've actually been joined by one of the most energetic news anchors, program anchors over here in the studios with us. And we were like, okay, if we are to kind of discuss that how, you know, is it easier to resume work, or is it difficult, or, you know, do you actually feel like coming back to work, or do you not? You know, so I think that the perfect guest really needs to be from our studios, because it's a very different life. You really need to be here at 4 in the morning at times. You really need to be here at 12 at night as well. So we're very lucky that we've actually been joined with somebody who happens to have a day job and a night job as well, ladies and gentlemen. He is Mr. Ehsan Haqqani. Hello, assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. How are you guys doing?
Absolutely perfect. Guzashta Eid Mubarak.
Guzashta Eid Mubarak to you too as well.
Thank you very much for joining us. You know, it's wonderful to have you.
Always a pleasure being here.
After a long time, and I like the way he expresses pleasure and all of that heroism is going on. So how are you, Ehsan? How was your Eid?
Eid was wonderful. Eid is all about togetherness.
Yes.
And Eid was
you
amazing
believe
this
a lot
time
in
around.
Togetherness, right?
Yes, I believe in togetherness. Togetherness
And
as a
believes-
whole, as a nation, as an ummah, enjoying the Eid festival
Putting it in a
together,
very
having kheers and having all the fruitful and hearty meals that you can have at home with family.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
all about togetherness.
Okay, so
The togetherness I was talking about.
Right.
No.
No,
ladies
I
and
don't know what
gentlemen.
Shahzad
When
is talking
somebody
about.
kind of clarifies themselves and that too on togetherness, you really know there's something wrong. But it's all right, ladies and gentlemen. I was just pulling his leg. We've been friends for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
You know, just when the channel was born, that was the time when we actually started working for PTV World as well. Yeah. So thank you very much once again for being with us. Lovely to have you over here.
Been ages, right?
Yeah, I mean...
We haven't aged though. We're the same.
Yes, I mean,
That's
let the viewers decide whether we have or not. But what I wanted to ask you was that, you know, because you have this side to your personality, you're fun-loving, you will always be full of energy, you're up to something all the time as well. So, you know, while it was Eid, were you the one receiving Eid or giving Eid?
It's been a long time that I received any Eid.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a long time. So
And it
it's
looks sad.
the tables turned a little while back
right.
when I started giving Eid. At first it used to be the green colored notes, then the purple colored, then the red colored. Now it's the green ones,
Yeah.
the other green ones,
Yeah.
and the blue ones, and sometimes
Orange-ish?
the orange ones as
Yeah.
well. So,
Right.
I
Okay.
mean,
That's all I
call it
want, the orange
inflation.
one, yeah.
Okay, so Ehsan, like talking about, you know, profession and the work, how did you venture into this field?
So I basically started off. I was a musician at first.
Okay.
I started singing. I was
And
composing
did you,
my own songs.
I mean, feel some sort of, you know, like earlier we were talking about, you know, so our parents are mostly like, you know, go into the engineering or being a
Yeah.
doctor.
So
There is
my
this-
parents were
I know
really
your background.
kind. Really kind. I mean, they didn't really force me to do anything. The most they wanted me to do was get done with my education.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
they hopeless, that we do.
just pass and just do something in your life, and wherever you go, just make sure you just stay over there and earn a good living for yourself
Okay.
and do whatever you feel like.
Okay.
So I had that leverage, and I think the margin for growth should always be there for the child, so that he can venture in whatever fields he wants.
But
So
venturing,
I was taking 2-3 tasks at one time.
Yeah.
Let me start off with how it started off.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Right,
Sure.
so in the university days, I used to play the guitar.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
still know how to play the guitar.
Yeah,
And,
to impress a few students. Yes.
Yeah, so, and then I started singing as well, and I had a band in the university. We produced 2 or 3 songs. You know how bands are, they split right after university. So I went on solo, composed 2-3 songs, made a music video or 2. They're on the YouTube if you guys want to go ahead.
Wonderful, sure. Do check
you
it
know,
out,
You know,
please.
do check them out. I mean, back to a decade back, yeah, from a decade back, uploaded on YouTube. Back then, YouTube was also banned. So
Second bag, yeah, you were a toddler, come on.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
you got me there. Bro. Okay, so yeah, it started off with music. I went into radio then. One time around, my really good friend Taimur from FM 91, DJ TT, called me up and he was like, dude, I need to do a show with you. How about you come and perform and do stuff? So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to come over. Once we were done with the show, I felt like, dude, I can do this.
Yeah.
And why not? So he said, yeah, go ahead, give an audition. I'll make you talk to the producer. And I went in and never said
Goodbye
no.
to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So never say no. 50% of the time, if you're there, the work gets done.
True.
Right.
Right?
And-
So each and every person who's viewing right now, do follow your dreams. Just make sure you're there on time.
Make
50%
sure
of
that
the
you
work
dream
gets
about
done when
something
you're
which
there.
pays your bill at least. You know, that's the only thing which I would
Coming
recommend.
to that,
Yeah.
coming to that.
Right.
Pakistani music industry doesn't pay bills. So
Yeah,
need to
not for the majority at least.
not for the majority. You need to be Rahat Fateh Ali Khan or Atif Aslam.
Yeah.
I mean, look at other artists like Bilal Khan. He's studying and paying his own bills right now. And
Right, right.
I mean,
So-
even though he's made it big in the
So,
industry.
Essen, I believe, and you told me once that you belong to a forces background. And did you ever felt that, somehow, because I do feel that, fathers who are in the uniform, they had a very overpowering personality. Did you ever felt that, you were overshadowed by him? Because
Not everybody's father needs to be overpowering.
Fortunately for me, when I was in my
I
growing
think for
age,
Hajra, her father is overpowering.
yeah. Fortunately
No,
for me,
not at all.
I think fathers from a military
I-
background, they
I-
tend to mellow down once they get retired
I
or are
really do.
closer to being retired. Things change a little, and when they have rebellious children, things have to change, or things won't go. I mean, for me,
Right.
it was really amazing because my dad never forced me to, wasn't like yours,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, please stop.
whatever you faced. I mean, it's not. Look.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll change my
this,
question.
this,
One
this,
chance, one
one
opportunity.
opportunity. This is everything you ever wanted. One moment. Would you capture it or would you let us slip?
Yeah, that's the question. But very quickly, because this is something while you guys were having this amazing conversation and a little amazing time of yours as well, I was thinking, you are a lucky person, alhamdulillah. So imagine that it's so hard for people to kind of land onto one government job, and you landed 2 of them. How did you do that?
Okay, first off, it's a mere coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. It's not.
Is it like,
didn't happen
somebody came
overnight?
on- Yeah.
Didn't happen overnight. I mean, I was already doing radio while I was continuing with the other job.
Yep.
So once the positions opened and there was a channel coming up, the only English channel that you have in the country right now,
Yeah.
PTV World. So I came here for the auditions. I had a few people of mine coming from the radio. They wanted me to come audition as well. And luckily for me, I got selected and they didn't.
Wow.
So
Okay, so Essen, I mean, you ventured into the field of the news anchoring also, right?
Yeah.
Which is about politics, international relations, some
Yeah.
really hard stuff.
Yeah.
So how did you venture into this field? I mean, was it because of the fact that you were already in the public speaking, you were doing radio, or were you really interested into...
Good thing about radio, Hajra, is that you're never lost for words.
Okay.
Once you start doing radio, you come up with so many various topics.
True.
And you have to come up with so many different people that you interact with.
Right.
I mean, people ranging from all different age groups and different walks of life, and
And people calling from so many different
so
places
many,
as well.
and the fan base is humongous. It's nothing. I mean, TV is nothing compared to the radio fan base that you have.
True.
I mean, crazy fans. So yeah, once you have the radio podium in your hand, and you can start off with changing people's perceptions and changing their minds.
Right, right.
That's the thing that impacts you the most, and then you believe in yourself that you can make a change, you can make an impact, you can prove to be better for the society in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much for saying that, because at this point of time, I would love to kind of share that how, I transitioned initially while I was coming back from Karachi, because I've lived in Karachi. I was working for a private channel, and I was a video jockey for a music channel.
Oh yeah.
So I actually landed
VJ
myself...
Shazad, yo.
So I landed myself a job of a news anchor, which I wasn't really very happy about. But
Okay.
where Essen said,
I
never say
remember
no. Yeah, so if
And
you're
he
going to give
wasn't
me a
really
minute-
good at it.
If
No,
you-
he
if you're
wasn't.
going to give me a minute to complete, sir, I'll be very kind. I'll be very thankful to you as well. So what happened was that I was like, okay, at least don't say no.
Right.
Yeah.
My parents wanted me to live with them over here in Islamabad, so I never said no. So it was another 2-3 months, ladies and gentlemen, full of depression and anxiety, and it's because of the fact that I was coming from a very glamorous and glitzy lifestyle as well, and all of a sudden, I'm here in front of the desk reading news. And then alhamdulillah, Allah heard my prayers and answered them back as well, where,
Right.
I think it was Miss Shazia Sikandar
Miss
Sahiba
Shazia Sikandar,
who
they gave
called
an
me in.
opportunity, it
Yeah.
popped up, and
Yeah, who
you
called
were
me
the
and
right
was like,
person for the
let's do
job.
this morning
And you
show.
were like, thanks God, I'm done with
Okay,
the news
so
and current affairs thing.
Right. So, Essen, I would like to ask you,
Yeah.
this serious question because I do feel that this conversation is going, veering off from our topic, which is journalism. So, what do you feel is the thing which is lagging, especially when it comes to Pakistan's newscasting industry?
Right. So one thing that I've noticed in the upcoming people that have studied mass communication, international relations,
Right.
political science,
Right.
journalism,
Right. Right.
right? They don't read stuff,
That's true. That's true.
right? They need to read up.
They don't read
If
newspaper.
you're,
Right.
listen, if you're an aspiring anchor, you need
Right.
to read up on things.
They do
You
a
need
lot of
to
name
watch-
dropping.
You need to watch other channels as well,
That's True,
true.
right? You need to get narratives from both the ends and then come up with your own thing.
Yeah, thank you
Right?
very much for saying that. Come up with your own thing, please.
Yeah.
This is something which I want to endorse so much that people, whatever they listen on social media, probably Kashif Abbasi, Shahzeb Khanzada, everybody, and they will never have their own opinion. Rather, they will second their opinion because it's a lot of hard work to get into and then
Right.
kind of form
Absolutely,
your
that's
own opinion.
where I was going. They don't do hard work. It's all about hearsay these days.
true.
I mean, I can refer, I won't name the political parties or the political personalities or your ex-prime ministers or other
Yeah,
statesmen.
please don't do that.
Yeah. But most of the time, it turned out that they'd been doing what I'm telling you not to do. They were doing hearsay.
Yeah.
Nothing was concrete, nothing was factual. So you need to stick to the facts.
Yeah.
Very important in journalism.
Thank you very much, Essen, for saying that. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for taking our time, and I totally love always being in conversation with you. Please make sure that this baby inside your own self stays alive for the rest of the life as well, inshallah, and have a prosperous life ahead. For everybody who's
too.
out there, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard Essen Haqqani out loud and clear. Please make sure that you read, you do your own stuff, you comprehend your own opinions, and then kind of form them in a shape where people will second that only if they kind of will see that there's logic behind it. Make sure that you form a logical argument with people rather than just saying or sharing news which you have heard from somebody else. I think that's the way for journalism, no?
Right. I think he said that, you need to stick to the facts. I don't know about the construction of the fact because we are living in the post-truth societies. But I think that's a debate for another discussion.
You've read so many books now. Post-truth society. I mean, that's the
right.
first time that I've ever heard it.
Really?
Yes, exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you write to us. Our Facebook page is World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Daily Motion YouTube, it's World This Morning. The Fabulous Repeat is going to be at 10:05 tonight. For the next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.